Richards. I started this channel to share funny moments and wisdom from my favorite lawyers. I want to hear lawyer commentary. Anyone also cool with that should subscribe to my channel for more funny legal havoc clips and edits. That's Law Nerd Clips over on YouTube. Thank you. Smash the like button. So thank you. Thank you.
She lived on the couch and she weighed about 70 pounds. And that, all that imagery spun into my head at that time, that I thought that was in my head at the time, I thought that that was a cowardly way for my father to have left. And I was deeply upset by that. Until my father and I had a conversation years later where
I don't even remember the question.
What really happened? How did it happen when I was older? And he told me the story.
Your Honor, may we approach? Sure.
So the defense here has to walk a really fine line. Mm-hmm. Johnny is extremely sympathetic. This is his chance to talk about everything. And this is all relevant to why he was in a relationship and stayed in a relationship with Amber Heard during the abuse that he's going to talk about. They cannot bully him now. They can bully him later, but right now they cannot open hot. And so he's getting to walk all over this. They should, under other circumstances, be objecting constantly to the fact that he's just narrating. Like he's just telling stories. There's no questions directing this. Very, very improper testimony. And they've finally broken. They're like, we are going to get killed.
Because they're going to go whine to the judge and at the bench. So would you please, or the judge would say, counsel, make your objection.
He's coming across very sympathetic.
Please stop letting him engender himself to the jury.
I find it's killing our case. Objection. I find him very credible. At least the stories he's telling, I think he's telling the truth.
Mr. Depp, how did you feel about your father when he left?
Right back to it. Right back in the same area.
I was very disappointed in him because I started to believe that his exit was sneaky, cowardly. He didn't. When he said goodbye to me when he left for work that morning, he just said goodbye. Goodbye, Bob. And I went, see you later, Pop. That was it.
So that seems honest too. That's exactly what a 15-year-old would interpret
from him.
And without getting into what your father told you, how has your impression of your father changed now?
Objection, relevance.
Your Honor, this is just an understanding of his perception of his family.
I'll sustain the objection next.
Yeah, I was going to say. And that's relevant how, counsel?
Mr. Depp, what have you learned from
that was not a good defense of that question.
Your experience in your childhood.
His vulnerability to the defamation.
And to the abuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I learned that I was wrong about my first impressions of his exit from the family. Very wrong. And I'll tell you one thing that I learned that was one of the best lessons I believe I've ever learned in my life, ever could learn in my life, was based on my experiences as a child and what I'd seen and experienced. I knew exactly how to raise children when my girl Vanessa got pregnant. I knew exactly how to raise children, which was to do the opposite of what they did. Stop signing, take me away. So, yeah, it was those kind of things. Again, you don't really get used to that, you know. So I forget what the original part of your question was. I got lost in the gauntlet.
I'll move on. What about Sean Beck? How long is?
You want to go ahead and take a break now? That'd be okay.
Now you see how we're going to get 6 weeks of this.
Why don't we go ahead and do that? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our afternoon break. Please do, we'll take 15 minutes to not discuss the case and, any outside research, okay? Thank you.
It's interesting, though. He's never sat down and done this before. So when you think about it, I mean, telling your story in this arena, it's going to attract a lot of eyes, but it's going to bring, like, if all the people on the jury, they knew who he was. So a lot of them will probably be interested in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and so I was waiting for a good opportunity.
Sir, just a reminder, since you're on the witness stand now, you cannot discuss your testimony with anybody to include your attorneys, okay? All right, and let's come back. I guess we can come back at 3:35. Is that okay for everybody? Okay, we'll take a recess. Thank you.
I definitely want him playing the Godfather in the remake.
All right, so what I was wanting to allude to earlier is when they were going through his movie testimony, and it's kind of boring, but they want to remind people, frankly, who he is. Like, this is Jack Sparrow. You've watched his stuff. This is the guy from Nightmare on Elm Street. These are these things. You've grown up with this guy. You know this guy. It's a little cheesy, but it gets to who he is and reminding the jury that they like this guy. He's in these things that they have enjoyed throughout their lives. No matter who they are, they've probably seen Johnny Depp somewhere and in something. But at the same time, as he gets into how that all changed his life, you get to find out that it's not all peaches and cream. There's a whole bunch of hassle and headache that's involved with this. He's not safe just going out for coffee. His kids aren't safe coming home from school. You might have and not safe doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be killed or kidnapped at any second, but they're going to be accosted and confronted and bothered by random people just for the sole fact of he was in a movie doing his job at some point. So getting all of that in front of the jury is really important. His testimony is dragging a little bit here, but I'm with Tug on this. This is the first time in 6 years that this guy has had a chance to even be able to speak about this stuff.
I think it comes off very genuine.
Yeah.
I saw a few people in the chat saying, oh, he's acting. I don't think he's acting. I think that's kind of who he is.
I think if he's acting, it'd be a little bit better.
Yeah, agreed. He started out nervous. Now, he may have overplayed the nervousness a little bit at the very beginning, maybe. But that's the other thing about public speaking is you do tend to, once you settle in, you do smooth out. You get more confident. You get more comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and the subject matter at the beginning was that's trauma. That's that's lasting stuff. I don't know, Tug, you could probably talk about that a little bit, but I mean, this is scarred mental health from what sounds like pretty severe and consistent abuse from his mother.
Well, he also talked about growing up poor. I mean, we were talking about that success story, man. He's from Kentucky in the Appalachians, but I live in Tennessee, man. Like, people, they don't understand. You hear a lot of people, and especially first world, they talk about struggle, man. You have places where people grow up in the dirt. We grew up, growing up, like, he's talked about, having outhouses and things. I mean, it's coming from nothing. And he talked about, one side of his family having having that almost, it was almost embarrassed by the upbringing of it. But I mean, that's relatable too. And then, like you said, the abuse, that explains why he would stay in a relationship with somebody like Amber Heard. He was conditioned to be in that. He was conditioned from birth to be in a relationship. And his mother was with him all the way through. He ends up moving his mother out where he's at. He pays for her home, and she dies from cancer one day before the last incident. So that'd be on May 20th, I believe. So, I mean, she's right there as a prominent fixture in his life. Never goes away.
Yeah, she's a prominent fixture. The other thing, two other observations I had. One, finding out about his dad and how much apologia Johnny has for both his mother and father. His mother, who is the primary abuser, his dad, who is a proxy. Now they'd call him an abuser, but in the 70s, a belt is not really abuse. I mean, the 70s, you're getting a belt. But the fact that he's doing it at the direction of the mom against his own sort of thing, it's like this weird sort of sick abuse of the father at the same time as the kid. And to have his dad be this ineffectual sort of weak figure throughout his childhood until he gets the guts or whatever to leave this lady, but he also leaves the kid. I mean, I think Johnny really tried to paint his dad as a good guy, you know, who did all the right things or whatever, but he really wasn't. I mean,
no, but again, that's humanizing. I mean,
right.
You want to. I mean, I don't think it was fake. You know, something that hit me. I mean, it hit me like a train. Grew up in the 70s myself and had an abusive father. And the comment about the wide 70s belt, he's not making that stuff up. When he said that, I went, holy shit, I remember those belts. I mean, they were literally at least they seemed to my 10-year-old self. They seemed to be like that wide.
And thick leather.
Angled it. He also, when he spoke about it, you know, the man of the home and stuff, I mean, it just sounds like something you would pick up from that time, the way you would see a situation there.
No, he's right about something else, too. He said at the very, very beginning, something like, you know, I didn't realize I was in such I'm paraphrasing, but that's the thing about being in an abusive place is it becomes normal. You just accept. I mean, you just get used to it. As crazy as that may sound to somebody that's never been in that situation, you get used to it. To the extent you even think about it, you just assume everybody lives like that.
The reason why junkies generally why they end up overdosing is because they're looking for the first high again, and you don't get that. You don't get your first high again. So what do? You up the stakes and you put more, you take more. And that's what makes that's what makes things go dark for them. Because they overestimated the amount that their body could tolerate. And they go blue and they die. So didn't want that.
So, Depp, do you have an estimate as to what year you started taking the opiates that you just described?
When 2000, or excuse me, it was Pirates. Bless you.
That was great.
4, I believe. Pirates 4. No, it was Pirates 4. Rob Marshall directed it.
See, he needs those last two moments more frequently.
Maybe. I actually don't. I have no idea what year that was.
Was it before you were in a relationship with Miss Heard?
Yes. I believe so.
And you didn't detox, and you detoxed from those opiates during your relationship with Miss Heard. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, so of course, yes. So they must have, they did come around prior to my meeting Miss Heard.
After you detoxed from the opiates, have you ever taken any opiates ever again?
No, I can't. That's no.
He'll die.
Once you've been bit, you'll be bit again. So no, even with my finger,
That she chopped off.
I think that it was like Motrin 800, but no opiates. No, I have not taken an opiate since, and I won't unless I plan on going through the hell of the pure horror of detoxing, of coming off those drugs. No.
Ty, you're not super familiar, but Johnny has some texts that have come through, and they're of varying levels of comedy and and eccentricity. One of them, he texted someone. This is, of course, after she had tried to destroy his life, but he texted someone saying that he hoped her fucking corpse was rotting in the back, in the trunk of a Honda Civic, which is. It's just mean.
I'm sorry, that's mean.
Oh,
but
they're
funny.
beautiful.
It's mean
I
to
thought
put
that
a
was
Hollywood starlet in the trunk of a Honda Civic. Like, at
I
least
know
give her
she
a
deserves
nice
more
car.
trunk space. No, my favorite was when he was his nurses. I mean, just to his nurses. So he wrote one. He was like, I really want to say. Well, he wanted to say, I really want to thank you, but that would be like a monkey fucking a football. You just can't put it into words.
Yeah, it's just not possible or whatever.
I was like, holy crap.
So
I mean, that's to his nurses and doctors. I mean, it's amazing stuff.
But that's funny. I mean, that's actually really funny and in a weird way, kind of vaguely charming.
Well, when he was talking about the doctor to the nurse practitioner, so he's talking to her about her boss, and he's like, by the way, tell him I miss him. I love that weird fucker. And it's like,
yeah.
There you go. But no, I think his speaking mannerisms and stuff will kind of engender the jury into who this guy is, and it demystifies the texts, and it takes the edge and sting off of, like, when he says rotting corpse in the back of Honda Civic. It's like, this is a very vivid image going on here, and it's kind of a vivid image kind of guy. So
I think that's hysterical.
Oh yeah.
Well, they also his defense team. Okay, his prior defense team. They didn't pick and choose text messages to turn over. They quote unquote accidentally dumped 10 years of text messages on the other side. They gave him everything the man had ever said. So a lot of those, it's not picking and choosing. That's everything the man ever said. Yeah, that was a screw up and a half.